Like if you found the video valuable. Detective Mara Vance had always prided herself on being impossible to rattle. 15 years on the force had given her every flavor of human crime, open and shut murders, elaborate frauds, even the occasional jewel heist. But the moment she stepped into the study of Leonard Gable, antiques dealer and local eccentric, she knew this one would haunt her. The man was slumped in his leather chair, head tilted back, eyes fixed on the high plaster ceiling as though something up there had fascinated him in his final moments. The air smelled faintly of cigar smoke and varnish. The oak desk before him was spotless except for a half-empty glass of scotch. The door had been bolted from the inside. The windows, thick-paned and sealed decades ago, were intact. No weapon, no sign of forced entry. It was the definition of a locked room mystery. But the detail that caught her attention wasn't the man himself. It was the object clutched in his right hand, a small, tarnished brass key. She crouched beside him, prying it gently from his stiffening fingers. The number, 314, was etched into its bow. "Does this key open anything here?" she asked Officer Redding, who stood awkwardly in the doorway. He shook his head. "We checked every lock in the house. Nothing matches." The will revealed Gable had no close family. His assets, mostly rare furniture and historical oddities, would be liquidated. But Mara couldn't let the key go. 2 days later, her research led her to a storage facility on the edge of town. The place looked like it had been built in the 70s and never updated. Rows of metal roll-up doors and an office that smelled of stale coffee. The manager, a wiry man with nicotine-stained fingers, glanced at the key. "Unit 314. Been a while since anyone's been there. Who's the tenant?" He rifled through a filing cabinet. "Rented under the name, Jonathan Keene. Lease started 30 years ago. Paid in cash, up front, for 50 years. We never see him." Mara's gut tightened. "Can I see the paperwork?" He hesitated, then handed her a faded folder. The address on the form didn't exist anymore, the street had been redeveloped. But there, on the signature line, was a flourish she recognized. Leonard Gable had signed it. Inside Unit 314, dust motes floated in the sunlight. Old furniture covered in sheets lined the walls. Crates of books sagged on rotting shelves. In the center of the room sat a single high-backed chair facing a tall, freestanding mirror. The mirror's glass was immaculate despite the decades of neglect. Mara stepped closer. Her reflection stared back, except, not quite. The lighting in the reflection was warmer, more golden, like a different time of day. And then she saw him. Leonard Gable was sitting in the reflected chair, hands folded in his lap, smiling faintly. Mara spun around. The real chair was empty. Her pulse hammered in her ears. She looked back at the mirror. He was still there, now holding the same brass key she had found in his hand. He leaned forward in the reflection, lips moving silently. She couldn't hear him, but she could read the words, "You've opened the wrong door." The mirror's surface rippled like water. The temperature in the unit dropped. Mara stumbled backward, the key in her pocket feeling suddenly hot. She left the storage facility without locking the unit again. Some doors, she decided, were never meant to be opened. Back in her office, she sealed the key in an evidence bag and placed it in her desk drawer. 2 nights later, she woke to the sound of a brass key turning in a lock, coming from inside her apartment.